Before we get to the movie, I have a little bit of fun for us.
Ooh.
If you knew Rob like I know Rob, you'd know that he has an encyclopedic knowledge of movies and the actors that act in them. Particularly actors that some may find obscure. He knows their names. Well, I've got a little quiz for you.
Uh-oh, okay, alright. Oh.
This is the Rob That Guy quiz. I'm going to give you the role and the movie, and you're going to tell me the name of the actor. Dick Jones from RoboCop.
That is Ronnie Cox.
Ronnie Cox is correct. The gun store owner from The Terminator.
That's Dick Miller.
That is Dick Miller. Zed from Pulp Fiction.
Oh, Peter Green?
Peter Green. Mr. Robinson from The Graduate.
Oh, is that William Daniels?
It is not.
Oh, then who is it?
He also wanted to keep the beaches open because there's not a shark problem.
Murray Hamilton.
Murray Hamilton. The bus driver from Quick Change.
Oh, that's Philip Bosco.
Frankie from Miller's Crossing.
Frankie...
Jesus, Tom.
Oh, that's Mike Starr.
Big Ed Hurley from Twin Peaks.
Oh, what is that dude's name?
He was also Reverend Lowe in Silver Bullet.
Oh, yeah, and he's also in People Under the Stairs. Is his name actually Ed?
It is not. His name starts with an E. Yeah.
Everett McGill.
Everett McGill is correct.
Ooh.
Billy Batts in Goodfellas.
Yeah, that's Frank Vincent?
Frank Vincent. Box from Logan's Run.
Oh, who was the voice of Box in Logan's Run? That's my job. It's not Victor Buono, is it?
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Okay, yeah, Roscoe Lee Brown, which we should all know if you're our age and you had the Story of Star Wars albums, because he was the narrator.
This next one, you can consult your t-shirt if you need to. Evil Ed from Fright Night.
Ah, that would be Stephen Jeffries.
Stephen Jeffries. From David Lynch's Dune, Baron Harkonnen.
Oh,
He also played a crooked cop in Ragtime.
Yeah, I can see his face when you say, oh yeah, he was in this. No, that was Charles Durning. Like, I feel like he and Charles Durning...
He's definitely a Charles Durning type.
Yeah, he's in Cat's Eye. No, I don't have it.
Kenneth McMillan. And lastly, Tangina in Poltergeist.
Oh, Zelda Rubinstein.
Zelda Rubinstein is correct, yes. Welcome back to the scary month of Halloween. We are watching another horror movie on the show today. We have Mr. Matsushita here, who is a big horror fan. Last time on this show, we watched The Keep, the story of a Romanian stronghold that is the home of an ancient evil. But really, it's just a big haunted house. Tonight, we have another haunted house tale to terrify us. I wonder if you've heard of the legend of Hell House.
Ooh! Is the original one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Released in 1973, TLOHH was directed by John Hull and stars Roddy McDowall, Pamela Franklin, Clive Revill, and Gail Honeycutt. The screenplay was written by Richard Matheson, based on his novel, Hell House. Actor Michael Gough has an uncredited cameo in this as a corpse.
So there are two actors who have played Alfred, the butler, that are in this. Clive Revill was the voice on the animated series.
Oh, okay. This film was the inspiration for the faux movie trailer Don't, created by Edgar Wright for the Grindhouse double feature.
I love horror movies that have British people in them. You see something horrible and terrible and gory, and then they cut to the next room, and there's somebody in a full three-piece suit with a snifter going, what on earth was that?
Your gift tonight is a gift that any movie fan can enjoy in the kitchen or elsewhere.
Ooh! It's magnetic poetry with movie lines.
There you go. So, you can rewrite all those classic lines yourself.
Right. Gonna need napalm.
Well, open up that creaky door and come inside to the dark and spooky leather couch, where we will be terrified by the legend of Hell House.
Ooh. Our spooky story begins when this old rich weirdo
meets with Dr. Lionel Barrett, a noted physicist.
Your assignment to establish the facts.
Regarding what?
Survival after death.
Well, this man clearly died several years ago, so he's interested in this topic. And I'm willing to pay you a lot of money to do it. But you've got to spend a week at the Belasco House, otherwise known as
Hell House.
It's crazy haunted.
A bunch of people got killed in this house.
He's got to go there with a team of psychics. One of them is Miss Florence Tanner. The other one is
Ben Fisher, the previous sole survivor of when the Belasco House murked a whole bunch of people. Roddy McDowall represent!
Oh, yeah. Dr. Barrett's wife, Anne, also insists on coming.
Isn't it just another so-called haunted house?
It's the Mount Everest of haunted houses.
Monday, December 20th.
Your luggage and equipment has already been installed. The electricity's on, your rooms are ready, and there's a full larder.
I'll send the coroner to retrieve your corpses in the morning. The four show up at the Belasco house. They're home for the next week. Right away, Miss Tanner is feeling things. I'm getting the heebie-jeebies, the willies, and the vapors all at once.
Miss Tanner?
I'm over here.
It's a record with Mr. Belasco's voice on it.
Welcome to my house. During your stay here, I shall be with you in spirit.
Wait, play that record backwards. For the perfect banana bread, make sure you use nutmeg.
The house just farted.
Yeah.
They have dinner.
Well, this house certainly hasn't lived up to its reputation so far.
I'm still totally alive.
His first name was Emmerich. He was born on March the 23rd, 1879. He committed suicide in this room in 1927.
How tall was he?
6 foot, 13 inches.
Drug addiction, alcoholism, sadism, bestiality, mutilation.
All the things that make life worth living.
If no one objects, I'd like to try sitting tonight.
I have no objection.
She's going to try and channel an angry spirit.
I don't know you people.
And channel that angry spirit she does.
Get out or I'll hurt you. I can't help myself. Get out of this house before I kill you all!
Well, it's been a good experiment. Time to pack up and leave.
Clearly we have to get out of this place.
The Lord certainly does move in mysterious ways.
So does this house.
So does U2, circa 1991.
Back to normal.
Shall we do our monthly lovemaking? Dr. Barrett confides in his wife.
In fact, I'm not at all sure about Mr. Fisher. Or Miss Tanner.
Or you. Miss Tanner is in her room when she is visited by this invisible spirit again.
It's Daniel Belasco, old man Belasco's son. He's trapped in this house and he can't get out. Oh, I have such a crush on him.
I'd like to suggest another sitting, under scientific conditions this time.
Scientific conditions. Protective goggles and snoods. He sets up his equipment. Miss Tanner starts communing with the spirits, and these little ghost strings start coming out of her fingers. It's ectoplasm.
Leave a sample in the jar, please.
I've fallen for that one before.
Yeah.
Leave a sample in the jar, please.
What if I don't have to go right now?
Ah! Hopefully during the next experience we'll get that ghost to nut into that jar. The spirit of Belasco comes to Miss Tanner's room again. Daniel! The next morning they're at breakfast and Anne is very upset.
I'm not a medium for the fun of it, you know.
There's a reason why I'm not called a small or a large. Suddenly, the spirits just go hog wild.
And wreck the place.
Whoa! Why did I order a plate of nails?
This is outrageous. Our lives are in danger. Let's just stay 3 more nights.
Yeah.
Dr. Barrett wants no more of these sittings. This is all going to be done by science from here on out.
Lionel?
Anne can't sleep. She looks at this statue. She looks at the shadow that the statue makes on the ceiling, and the shadow starts moving.
Look at this. We're getting Cinemax on the shadows in the ceiling.
Ben is downstairs hanging out when Anne comes and pays him a visit. She is possessed of sexy energy, and she tells Ben all of this.
Naked. Drunk. Sweating. Biting.
Ugh. Ben rebuffs her advances.
Snapping her out of her trance, and boy is her face red.
Well, it wasn't sex, but it was more than she's gotten from Lionel in a long time.
By the way, Roddy McDowell lies. If he says anything happened. He lies. He lies a lot.
They figure out that Daniel's father, Emmerich Belasco, is the one keeping his son here. I don't know what bearing that has on the story.
Anne, possessed again, decides to try and seduce Ben again.
Just what have you been doing, Mr. Fisher?
Want to see my hooters again?
This house isn't doing anything. I'm doing it.
Why, I've never touched a breast in my life, and I'm not about to start. Lionel walks in and sees the whole thing. Now he's mad at her.
What I think is irrelevant to this conversation.
Irrelevant? What the hell do you mean by irrelevant?
It's a big animal with ears and a trunk.
Ben tells Florence about all the people that the house has killed and mutilated.
She jumped off the balcony and she shattered both her legs. He crawled out of this house to die. Head of the chemistry department at the University of Oxford. Crippled and insane to this day.
So you can see why I wanted to come back.
Right.
Florence decides
To seduce the spirit of Danny Belasco.
this will give him the strength to leave. It doesn't go well.
Ending up naked and hysterical and going,
December 24th, oh, it's Christmas. Christmas Eve.
the spirit's done it all in one night.
Dr. Barrett sends off to Deutsche Industries, and they bring this big machine. The machine will solve the issue.
That pile of junk you have there, Barrett, it isn't going to do a thing.
But this machine will work. It has 24 bits of RAM. 24 bits!
Get her out of here. Get out yourself. You haven't got a chance. If you try anything else, you will be a dead man. He won't listen, will he?
It's Anne, but no, he won't listen.
What if the spirit is something else? What if it's not even a spirit at all?
Dr. Barrett has figured out that this house has this psychic energy, this formless energy.
The house is a giant battery,
He can use this machine to dissipate the energy.
and Hill House will be exorcised.
Well, this ought to be good.
Yeah. Miss Tanner responds to that in a sane and dignified way by grabbing a fireplace poker and trying to destroy the ghost-busting machine.
Thank God she didn't know what to smash.
You tried to smash with Ben the other night, didn't you, Anne? But we're not talking about that right now. Before they can turn it on, Florence finally goes into the chapel, the part of the house that has been keeping them out this whole time. She is attacked by Jesus Christ. That's one of my favorite old gospel hymns, Attacked by Jesus. And mortally wounded. But she's finally figured out the secret. And before she dies, she scrawls it in blood. Dr. Barrett starts up the machine. They all wait outside. The machine does its thing. They go back in. Everything seems normal.
Is it really over, Lionel?
Yes, it's over.
You'll have no more of those unpleasant spells of horniness, dear.
You mind if I say I told you so?
Because I just did.
Barrett, the house is clear. It is completely clear.
Shame you couldn't have done this a few hours earlier when there were 4 of us. Still time to do a little Christmas shopping.
Before Dr. Barrett can give himself a pat on the back, his dials start going wacky again.
Yeah, the spirits just come right on back.
I do not accept this.
Lionel?
What on earth was that?
Anne finds her husband in the chapel, quite dead. Ben knows that he's got to...
Finish this whole thing.
You're gonna die. Like Lionel. Like Miss Tanner.
like George Washington. They've got to go to the chapel. It's Christmas Eve. They have to see the Belasco Christmas pageant.
Yeah.
He looks at that blood message.
That's what to be inside the circle means.
There's no Daniel Belasco. It's just Old Man Belasco.
Is what we thought the first time.
So that helps me somehow.
Why? Didn't you ever leave this house when you were alive?
He basically says, yo mama, to the ghost.
Your mother has a wooden leg with a kickstand.
Insulting him. And the ghost gets so mad that he leaves.
He threw down the dozens until that ghost shut up.
They find a secret door, and in there is
The mummified corpse
of Emmerich Belasco.
in a lead-lined room so that his spirit would stay in the house.
And they figure out why he never left the house. It was because he was short. And he hated being a little guy.
He so despised his own shortness that he had both his legs cut off and wore those instead to give himself height.
Wow.
So he could walk tall around a house that he never would leave.
It's not much of a punchline, but I guess he wasn't much of a spirit.
That, I'm afraid, is the legend of Hell House. I can't help but notice the very many similarities between this and The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes, yeah, definitely. We had a exchange of money to have people stay in the house, a varying amount of people who believed in ghosts, even though there seemed to be just an orgy of evidence that there are clearly ghosts in this house. Yeah. Dr. Barrett really didn't seem to believe in ghosts, considering he is a paranormal expert.
I think maybe he didn't believe in mediums. Mm-hmm. I think that was what he was mainly skeptical about.
His arrogance will, of course, be his downfall. British.
Did you think this was scary?
It had its moments. I think it probably would have definitely... I think if I saw it in the time period that it was made...
A lot of the stuff flying around looked pretty fake.
Oh, yeah.
The ghosts were not scary, but when the ghosts got into the people, that was what was scary, because you never know what's going to happen.
I do think the movie is exceptionally well shot.
I believe Robert Wise's The Haunting did a lot of that similar stuff.
Yeah.
Dutch angles and low angles and high angles and
yeah.
Just to convey the otherworldliness of this place that they're in.
And I'm a big sucker for when all of the cast members walk in from different entrances and stand on their marks in a perfect album cover.
I thought it was an intriguing idea to have this Christian medium, because you would think that it would be the opposite, like a psychic would reject religion or be skeptical of religion. So that was a nice take on that whole thing.
Yeah, I think we're definitely doing a science versus religion kind of a thing. Religion always wins in a fight of religion versus science in a horror movie. Ghostbusters is one of the few movies where science wins.
I really like the cast.
Yes.
I thought all four of those roles were cast perfectly.
It's a real gutsy move to have a very small cast like this and just cast them with some real $20 actors. People that you know are just going to be able to sell just about every moment that they have.
Particularly the character of Anne. It was really good casting because she seems like a very prim and proper person. She has kind of austere good looks.
Yeah.
And so then when she becomes this orgiastic vixen, it's a real turn and it really feels wrong. The big reveals that come at the end of the movie. Bit of a letdown.
A little silly.
Yeah.
A little silly. I mean, especially considering that the whole big twist is at the end it was the spirit that we assumed it was. Right at the beginning. It's called the Belasco House. Of course it's Belasco.
Yeah, and then the thing about the legs was just very silly.
And he's short.
He didn't like his shortness, so he cut off his own legs and he put artificial legs. So he's this short man with really long legs.
Yeah, why didn't you just wear stilts or lifts or... I don't know, man. You're rich. You can figure this out. Clearly you have money to throw around.
The writing and the plot of throughout the movie is pretty good. And then at the end it's just...
What?
Yeah. The Legend of Hell House has been told. And now it is time for us to tell you of some different legends in a segment we like to call Seen It.
Seen It!
Michael Danger Palma, Halloween Ends. Seen It.
Also seen it.
It's got a great soundtrack.
I love that they got John Carpenter back to do the music. It's kind of what he mainly does now. It's just music now.
But also the song choices. It was really fun to listen to. They made good use of extreme gross violence, heads being squashed and things like that.
It really does genuinely try to give Michael Myers a personality beyond just being basically Jason Voorhees, but in a better movie.
His character in the credits is called The Shape.
Yes, The Shape.
Do you know what this is all about?
Yeah, that is kind of the other name for like what the spirit in Michael is. An entity that possessed Michael Myers at a young age.
That's one of the things where I felt this movie fell short, was this idea that Corey was becoming the new Michael Myers is a little half-baked and not really committed to.
Yeah. Michael just kind of is just this homeless dude who's hanging out in the sewers, who kind of trains him like he's Mickey in the Rocky series.
Yeah.
Owl Tits asks, have we seen Train to Busan? I have indeed seen it.
As have I. One thing that I originally thought was a weakness of this film, I've changed my mind on it since then. People have different reactions to the zombie bites. Most of the time, it's an instant transformation. They're suddenly a zombie. Other times, it's slower if they need to say a tearful goodbye or do this thing. And I didn't like that. But it makes sense because, as we learned from COVID, which I watched this during COVID,
yeah,
viruses react to different people in different ways. And that's something that the zombie genre has never tackled.
Yeah.
A zombie virus that has different effects on different people.
Yeah.
Like some people, they turn into aggressive zombies. Some people turn just into dopey, mindless zombies who don't do anything.
Yeah.
Some are fast. Some are slow. Some are immune. You know, they don't change at all.
It is one of the most riveting zombie movies ever made. Horror movies work when you have true investment in the characters. When characters get killed in this movie, you feel it.
And then we've got a couple of DVDs that were sent to us in our P.O. box, and we're going to talk about those.
From T.A. Epley, for the scary month of Halloween, I watched one horror movie every night of October. Possession from 1981 was the best. One of the truly transcending moments of film art as a whole.
Seen it. This is quite a ride.
This is the kind of movie where, like, Ken Russell thinks you should calm down. Sam Neill just goes for it. There are some distinctly dramatic choices that he and Isabella Gianni make in this film. A lot of people have heard about the scene where Isabella Gianni goes insane in the subway station.
Oh my God. I was terrified. I thought she was going to hurt herself.
I mean, it really does look like...
It looks like she's going to... Any minute she's going to slam her head into that wall.
Right. You are genuinely terrified for actual Isabella Gianni.
Yeah, that's the horror. Yeah.
In that movie. I don't know what it was like to shoot this movie, and I do not want to know.
Yeah, man.
It is not messing around. This is a varsity level horror film.
Yeah. The one part about it that I really don't get is the spy angle. The fact that Sam Neill's some sort of spy, and it's there in the beginning, and then it comes back in the end, and it's nowhere in the middle.
I think it may be just a reason for why the military reaction to these two possessed people is so extreme in the end of the movie. It's because he's some kind of operative. I don't know. Huh. By the time you get to the end of the movie, I was no longer asking questions. I'm like, clearly this movie is a vibe, and that is all I'm going to get from this.
Piano Face writes, I just watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time since high school and was surprised to see Barry Bostwick plays Brad. Thumb kisses all around. Seen it.
Seen it so many times.
How many times?
I definitely saw it every weekend one summer.
I've seen this movie once. I was a freshman in college, probably like my first month in college, and they were showing it at the Penning's Activity Center, the PAC. I hadn't made any friends yet. I was kind of road testing a couple friends. There were these two fellows who were kind of nerdy misfits like me.
Rocky Horror is a good movie to do that with.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I didn't connect with it.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the subversive nature of it. And these two guys I was with, they just were not having it. They did not like that movie.
Oh, wow.
But I got the sense that they didn't like the gay stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw this other group of people. They were smoking, and they were talking about the movie, and they were talking about, that was the best movie. Oh, it was really good. And I looked at the two nerds, and I looked at these guys, and I thought, I don't really agree with either of them, but I want to hang out with those guys.
Yeah.
And I did for the rest of those were the theater kids, and that was my circle of friends for the rest of college.
It's interesting that there's this movie, and you know that there are people who have been honing their riffing on it over a period of years. I will never forget the time that I went to the theater and I was about to yell a thing that I always yell that made no sense, didn't have anything to do with what was going on screen. I just happened to always yell it at the exact same moment. And as I was about to say it, a guy behind me yelled it first.
Wow.
And it was only then that I realized, like, oh, the same people have always come to sit in the exact same seats for this. So we've all been kind of like hanging out as friends together.
Right.
But I've literally never met this man.
There's a place you can go that is not a hell house, but it is a hell of a good time, and that's our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. Our entire back catalog is there, one, and B, there are PayPal donation buttons that you can click on and make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show. That is something we greatly appreciate, and I want to shout out Michelle, who gave us a generous donation, and her only comment was Eliza's horoscope. I don't know what that means, but I can give it a shot, sure. Eliza, you will meet someone who may give you some sort of exciting opportunity this week. You will find something that you thought was lost forever. And
your lucky numbers are 86, 75, 3, 0, and 9.
If you want to see more chat between these two fellas, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. We've got mail to open. We've got questions to answer. It's going to be a great time, right?
It absolutely is.
And now you should absolutely take a look at this.
So she's giving herself to the son of Belasco.
Yes.
So it's very much like the Jennifer Lawrence film No Hard Feelings, but with a ghost.
Get out of this house before I kill you all!